To start the first talk, can I kindly request everyone to say sadhu, please? Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Yatanuko bhante ne jayati ne jiyati ne miyati ne chavati ne uppajjati. Sakkanukoso bhante gamanena lokassa anton jnatum va dattum va papunitum va ti. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So this is a traditional start to a Dhamma talk. I'm quite sure that you don't understand head or tail of what I just said. Just to give the direct meaning of that is, this is a question that was asked by a divine being. He comes and asks whether there is a place in the universe where there is no decaying, where there is no death. And Lord Buddha, once the question was asked, Lord Buddha said, there is no such place. There is no place in the universe that there is no decaying, that there is no aging, that there is no sickness, that there is no death. So this divine being was very happy, very satisfied. To give you the background of the talk, the name of the talk is the Sutta is Rohithassa Sutta, and in the name of the divine being is Rohithassa. He comes to Lord Buddha and asks this question. And after answering the question, he is giving another answer. He initially says that there is no such place in the universe. And then he says, but at the same time, I tell you that there is no making of an end to suffering and stress without reaching the end of cosmos. So what this divine being is asking is, aging and decaying and getting sick and dying are basically suffering. So this person is looking for a place where there is no suffering. What are we doing? We are studying, we are going for jobs, and when you get older, you may get married and have children. What are we looking for? We are looking for end of suffering, in other words, happiness. It's the same thing that even this divine being is looking for. And the entire world is looking for that. And there are so many research centers all over the world. And what are they trying to see is whether there is a way that pleasure can be continued. Happiness can be continued. Right? In fact, especially medical research is looking for a way that sickness can be stopped. Death can be stopped. That is why they are spending so much of millions and sometimes billions of dollars. It's the same research that has been done so many eons ago. It is not just 2,600 years. This particular person has asked this question or has done this research long time ago. He has been a skywalker. And he tells Buddha, I was a skywalker and I was able to walk very fast. And I have been walking in the sky and I was looking for such place, could not find a place like that. And I just died in the universe. I just stopped for a break and to take my food and urinate and defecate only. And every other time he has been walking, but still he has not been able to find a place. So therefore it's the same thing, the same question that the world is having. And when we were talking with Bhante, It was the same thing that you guys also mentioned. Even mindfulness to be taken in a fun way. So everyone is looking for fun. And even here, it's the same thing. And after saying no, the Blessed One says, he says you can't travel in the cosmos and you won't find a place. And then he gives a funny answer, the one I just said. But at the same time, I tell you that there is no making an end of suffering and stress without reaching the end of cosmos as well. Then he becomes very confused. Is this person out of mind? Maybe the Buddha has thought, because initially he says you can't walk and find, and then he says without walking also you can't find. Then the Blessed One defines his answer. He says, the cosmos I am talking is not the cosmos that you have been traveling, but the cosmos is your own body. Cosmos is the atom-long body, and that is where we get connected with this program. In this program, what we are doing is something called mindfulness. And at the very beginning, when Bhante asked what mindfulness is, and some of you said it is the awareness of here, now, I am. Right? So I am is basically a physical process, a mental process, and interconnection between the two. That is an animal. That is a living being. Right? So although we have these three components in a living being, are we aware of the mental process at all? Let alone the interconnection? We are not. From the day or from the moment you wake up from your bed until the time you go to bed again, what do? We do everything, look after our body only, our physical process only. We brush our teeth and we clean ourselves, wrap up with whatever appropriate or inappropriate clothes, right? And get into a car, which is again air conditioned the way we want. And then do so many things to look after our body, look after our physical process. And it has gone to the extent we take health insurance as if we are not going to fall sick. And they are making money out of that ignorance that we have. And it also goes to the extent that we take funeral insurance as well nowadays. So that much we are worried about our body. So the Blessed One says, since you are taking care of your body so much, you will have to start the journey in the same place that you are in, which is the body. So that is why we just did a mindful walking. So in the mindful walking, what we simply do is try to bring our attention to the body. We bring our attention to the lower part of the body. Walking means you take the weight of the body, the upper body, on one leg all the time. That is what is happening while walking. If both the legs are on the floor, on the ground, you are not walking, you are standing. So therefore, meaning or the definition of walking is that you will be balancing the body weight on one leg. And when we have been walking ever since we were able to walk, but we have never seen how that happens. Now when we bring our attention to the walking in this manner, you come out of the external world, your attention which is in the external world is coming to the body. And that way, you have taken the first step towards the answer that the Buddha gave, towards entering into the cosmos that you are carrying on with you. And that is where, according to Buddha, that there is no age, that there is no decaying, that there is no death. And that's a cosmos that you will have to travel through. That's the cosmos that you will have to go through. We have not done that at all. Therefore, through mindfulness, we are trying to bring that. And after all, what is mindfulness? Is again, if I remind you what Thero said a few minutes ago, it is the awareness, or we call it choiceless awareness, or in other words, the art of not doing anything, or art of being non-reactional, art of living without a judgment. That is mindfulness. And when you bring your attention to walking, how you do that is a question. And it is very easy for me to sit here and say, you will have to be choicelessly aware whatever is going on. But how we do that? We haven't done that at all. So the Blessed One says, if you want to bring your attention to the body, you will have to simply become an observer of the body. That is only, then only you will bring your attention to the body. Right? So how you become an observer of yourself? Buddha has given a nice simile that you will have to be like a watchman or a security guard. What does a security guard do? He will be at the gate and getting all the information of the people and the vehicles that are coming in. Or the best example nowadays would be the CCTV camera. The CCTV camera will not bother what happens in that vicinity. It will be simply recording each and everything that is going on. Whether the master is coming to the house, or house owners, other children are coming to the house, it doesn't bother. Whether a thief is entering, it doesn't bother. Whether other animals are coming, it doesn't bother. Whether a lot of rubbish is coming into the vicinity, it doesn't bother. It simply keep recording. And that is exactly what you are supposed to do when you practice your mindfulness. While walking, of course, we ask you to observe the sole of your feet. When you observe the sole of your feet, we ask you to observe how it is placed. To see how the leg is placed on the ground, and then ask you to see how it is lifted. And also we ask you to initially to see what sort of sensation that you feel when you place, and what happened to that sensation when you lift it. And we ask you to keep on observing that. When you keep on observing that, then you become a CCTV camera, and you don't bother what happened, whether you are stepping on a stone, or whether you are stepping on the carpet floor, or whether you are stepping on a nail, you don't know. If you see it, you may not. But otherwise, you just keep walking. And when that happens, you will be observing these things. Then when you observe, first the heel goes, and then the arch area, and then the pillow, and then the fingers, and then there will be a slight push, and then the other leg moves. And when you observe the lifting, again the heel is being lifted, and in the same order, the leg is lifted. Right? And when it comes to sensation, again, it depends on the floor on which you are walking. You may feel like the hardness or the softness or the coldness or the warmth, right? And any other sensation that you will have, depending on the surface you are walking. So you keep observing all that as long as possible. And that is choiceless awareness. That is good if you can have the attention to the sole of the feet all the time. But that does not happen. What happens is, just after keeping, maybe even before, your mind starts wandering. You may be thinking about all the fun that you would have had during these Christmas holidays. And parents may have pushed you to come here. And a lot of other things may be going in your head. Or the movie that you would have watched. Or the game that you may have played. right? You may be thinking about those things, the parties that your friends are attending to now, right? So those things are going on. And how you become choicelessly aware now is a question. So this is a place that each and every mindful practitioner must know. When we practice mindfulness, especially when you Google, in the Google mindfulness, and even the mindfulness that is being taught in some of the schools, especially here, mindfulness is if you observe breathing, that is mindfulness. If you observe walking, that is mindfulness. If you do something else and you observe that, that is mindfulness. And please keep in mind, mindfulness is the observation and not the object. This is a grave mistake that is in our mind. It's not a personal mistake of anybody. That is how our mind is conditioned. Our mind is conditioned to hold on to something. So therefore we try to hold on to the object, or the breath or the walking, whatever that you do. And if your mind is not there, then you start crying. But if you uphold the fact that you will have to be aware, in the case of awareness, when it comes to awareness, you don't give a damn what happens. You simply become aware of it. You can very well say, yes, I was not able to observe my feet. Instead, I was thinking about this. And then when I became mindful of that, then the attention came back to the foot. Then I was observing how it is placed and how it is lifted. Again, my attention went to a sound. Some birds were chirping, and it was so loud, and my attention went there. And I just kept observing that. Once I observed, when I placed my attention to my ear, then I felt this way. And then once I felt that, again attention came to the foot. Right? Again, after that, there were so many cars going and my attention went to that. And I became aware of it. And then after some time, my attention came back to the walking. So when this happens, and if you know all what is happening when you are doing your mindful walking, that is mindfulness. That is awareness. But it is very hard to get our mind accept it. Our mind will be bringing millions and millions of reasons to justify that you must be with the main object. Then only you will be mindful. That is because we have not practiced mindfulness in our, we'll say, before coming here, right? Without taking into previous lives. We have never practiced mindfulness. We have been holding on to things. So therefore, being aware is out of question for us. Always we need to have a reaction. So having a reaction when something happens will come into the picture even when you practice. Right? So therefore, I'm repeating that mindfulness is awareness. Mindfulness is choiceless awareness. And when I said that once in Sri Lanka, some people made a counter argument saying, we are already mindful. We are already aware. Without our awareness, how do we live a life like this? And that's very true. We are already aware. We know how to go from A to B without meeting with an accident. You know how to go to school and learn well. You know how to study and get through your exams. And parents know, do a job and earn a way of living. And that awareness is not mindfulness because it is outward. It is extrovert. The mindfulness we are talking here is not that extrovert mindfulness. We are talking about introvert mindfulness. For something to be introvert, it has got to be you, it has got to be now, it has got to be here. And that is why she was saying choiceless awareness of here now I am is mindfulness. So therefore keep in mind, the technique is given to as an anchor point, as a reference point, to see how your awareness can be introduced into your existence. Unless there is a place to start, you don't know how to become aware. But once you have a place to start, then you know you are unable to be aware of that. And then you can be aware of the other thing that is happening. So in this manner, gradually awareness will be introduced into your life. And then you will be basically mindful all the time. And the Bhante was asking unmindful situations. And if you talk about unmindful situations, if you know that you are unmindful, is it unmindfulness? It is awareness. So when you become aware, there is no question of unmindfulness coming into the picture. We say unmindful only when we don't have the attention to what we are doing when something else is happening. And I just wanted to tell him yesterday, when I wanted to brush my teeth in the night, both cream and the toothpaste was together. Both were white. I just took the cream bottle and put onto my toothpaste, and immediately after putting into the toothpaste, I felt that it is not the right thing. And then I looked at the tube. Yes, it was not toothpaste. It was cream, UV or something, some cream that you have. And then I just threw it and took toothpaste and brushed my tooth. So I was, in other words, aware. And one day I forgot my phone in some place. I usually forget it all the time. But I told a person, my phone is in so-and-so place. Please go and bring it. And he brought it and gave it back to me and said, I'm not saying that you are not mindful. You exactly said where it was. Right? So therefore, there is no question of unmindfulness coming into the picture when you become aware. But if you try to hold on to what you do, because when in a given moment, how many things are happening? In a given moment, billions of things are happening. So when so many things are happening in a given moment, if you try to hold on to one thing, then you are creating tension to yourself. So if you let anything happen and you just become an observer, you just become a CCTV camera, there is no tension for you. That is why we bring a mindfulness to our young generation, because it took so many years for us to at least get introduced, and nobody introduced it to us. It was, in my case, it was my own urge that I came into mindfulness. And Bhante told his story, right? But in your case, you are so fortunate. Maybe you may not like it now, but I'm 110% sure, and it is very pessimistic, 200% sure that you will appreciate this in due course. Because I have 2 kids. Before ordaining, I had a life, married life and family life in Australia. And my kids were introduced to mindfulness very, very early stage. And my son is about 32 now, and the daughter is about 28. And they did all nasty things. I'm not going to mention to you, and you know yourself, right? And since the mindfulness had been introduced to them, they took a very big U-turn in each and every obstacle they had. And when my son, when he just turned 20, just left home, and leaving home is a usual thing here, but sometimes not in our culture. So therefore, my friends were very shocked, and everyone was giving a lot of advices to me, go and talk to him, do this, do that, and all that. I said, no, there is no need for me to do that. I have given him the best I should give him as a parent. He has gone. I definitely know. You don't panic. He will definitely come as a better person. And for his 21st birthday, he was back at home. And ever since, it was very hard for me to chase him out of the house. and he was at home and all the time. But what I'm saying is, so once the mindfulness is introduced into your life, you have an alternative to go to when there is a problem. And in this society, what happened is, especially you guys, you don't have an alternative to go to. So you go to the pub, you go to drugs, you go to all sorts of other things. And you know what is happening in the society, there is no need for me to tell you. But if the mindfulness is introduced, because all what you are doing is, you are not trying to look for danger. You are trying to look for happiness. And you think, these old people have not done these things. Why shouldn't we do it and look for happiness in that? But by the time you realize, it may be a bit too late. But if you have this opportunity introduced and embedded in your system, there is no need for anybody else to come and tell you. You have a mirror for you to see yourself. That is what mindfulness is doing. Mindfulness is a mirror to see yourself. And when you see yourself, you know which place should be applied, what cream, how the hair should be combed, and all that because you see your own mistakes. And then you rectify them. And that is what is happening when you practice mindfulness and when the mindfulness is in your daily routine. And advance and improve on mindfulness. So that is why when you have a U-turn, when there are things going against you, in this case, this divine being is taking the extreme things going against you. Aging is going against you, and that is what is happening to us now, especially to me. We are aging, and with the age, sickness is coming, and that is. And when we have these problems, we are not crying. We are not going for health insurance and that insurance and this insurance. I haven't had health insurance at all in my life. and when I told my friends, and they were astonished to see, because everyone is having some health insurance. So since we are aware of ourselves, since we are ready, since we have an alternative to be happy, there is no need to be scared of things. And you will be scared of things when there is no alternative to be happy. And that is what mindfulness is giving. And therefore, you are very lucky in that sense. And our teacher, Bhante Dhammajiva, has seen this few years ago for your luck. And that is how this group is gathering here. And if he had not introduced that concept of mindful school, and I wouldn't have been teaching some of you here, and only the adults. And if your parents teach you, you will never learn, because you don't want to listen to parents. It's not that it is you are stubborn. It's the nature of kids. When we were kids, and especially growing, I'm giving you some tips. Especially when we were growing, we never listened to our parents. We did what we wanted. That's how you develop yourself. If you always keep doing what your parents are doing, then you will be a grandfather or grandmother, not them. Right? So to some extent, you go against them. And with that, you develop your own confidence. And sometimes you make mistakes in that. When you make mistake, now you have an alternative to turn to. You have the alternative to see for yourself. So you will detect that you are taking a wrong step at a very, very early stage. But you all may have heard other members of 9/11 coming back to Australia. So you will not go to that extent if you have been mindful. So this is the advantage of being mindful. And another reason, if I may say, why you should be mindful is this is the only thing that you cannot experience. When you are mindful, only you can reach to an experience. In order for you to be happy, you should experience it. When can you experience? Now. Experience should be of yourself. But where is our mind? Sometimes even now, when I'm talking, your mind may be somewhere else. Your body is just here. So that is how we have been living in the universe all this time. And therefore we all the time miss that point, that tiny point called now. When we miss that, we miss the experience. But if you are living in now, it may be difficult, but you have an experience. So when you have that experience, when you find happiness, you will experience happiness as well. So that is why after having a long, very successful professional life, very happy family, I took this option because that happiness experience is gradually coming to you. I'm not going to say that you guys are going to get ordained. That's not the point. But when you bring your attention to now, you have the opportunity to experience happiness. Otherwise, you always think of happiness. You always project happiness. That's all. If your mind is in the future, then it's a projection of happiness. If you keep thinking about past, it is just history bringing it to surface. But even bear in your mind, that happens now. So if you are aware that your attention is in the future and attention is in the past, even that is an experience. Then you know about your own mind. So the other thing is when you become mindful, your efficiency goes through the roof. Why? Your attention is not divided all over the universe. It is not outward. It is inward. Number one. Number two, you are not reacting. You keep accepting things. When you react, what happens? You say something is not good, you say something is bad, and which creates negativity, which creates friction. But instead, if you accept, even if there is a bad thing, even if there is a hard thing, that friction is taken away. So when the friction is taken away, you are energized. You are re-energized. You conserve your energy. Right? So when you conserve your energy, your efficiency naturally comes. There is no need for you to specially do something special to become efficient. Just accept that particular moment. When you accept that particular moment, then you will become efficient. And I'll just give you one example. When I was working, I changed my job and a new position was taken. And they gave me loads and loads of work. And I just go to office, open up the computer, and as soon as I open up the computer, as soon as I start punching in, I tell in my head, working, gets into the mode, and I keep working till the lunchtime, go for lunch, go for a walk, come back, again start working, get into the mode, keep working. I, about 15 minutes before the office finishes, I get up and go. Work done. And after 2.5 years, during an appraisal, they said, we had given you more work that you can do, but you did meticulously. I told them I never felt. Because when we work, before starting the work, we fight with the work. When you study, when you take the book, what the hell, I have got to study. With that attitude only you take the book. Instead of just take the book and keep reading. If it goes to your head, it goes. If it doesn't go, it doesn't go. And you read once again. So that fighting with yourself will be taken away. You simply accept things. Don't have any expectation. And by doing that, efficiency tremendously increases. That is why the schools are trying to teach mindfulness. But I'll give you one advice. Don't do mindfulness, increase anything. Learn mindfulness as an art of living. It is not to achieve anything. It is a human right, as my teacher says. We being humans, we only can do this. Animals can't. Although both human beings and animals are doing the same thing. We eat, they eat. They sleep, we sleep. They produce their kind, we produce our kind. We live in fear, they live in fear. There's no difference. Only difference is the way. They don't have air condition, but we have air condition. Right? So only human beings are able to be non-reactional, to observe what is happening. Right? So when, therefore, since only human beings can do it, your schools are teaching that to you to increase your efficiency in studies. And officers are introducing mindfulness to office to improve their bottom line. Mindfulness is not for that. Mindfulness is simply a human right. It's an art of living. It's a way of living. Don't have any expectation, but practice it honestly so that you will be naturally happy people. Some people may say that you are antisocial. Take that as a compliment. If you are antisocial, if they say you are 100% with yourself, you are 100% happy with yourself. When you are happy with yourself, how many other people you want? You don't want people. You don't want the people. Right? So you will really meet your friend when you bring your attention to your body. Because our attention all this time, our mind has all this time been in the universe. It has never come to your body. So therefore the Blessed One said, bring your attention to yourself, you will see the cosmos. So when you see the cosmos, there is no need to see cosmos anywhere else. Right? So you will be naturally happy. And that will naturally bring the efficiency. So this way, when you see yourself, you naturally become happy person, means you become a purified person. I have so many examples in my teaching of mindfulness. So many examples of bad people turning good people. And give a very simple example. There was someone, I'm not quite sure whether this is appropriate or not for your group, but since you all are above teen, I'm going to tell this anyway, because this is supposed to be youth group. So I'm considering this is a youth group, and you guys should hear this, but those are not serious things. Anyway, I have more serious things than that. There was someone who was addicted to liquor, and he practiced with me in Melbourne. Don't worry, not very far. He, on the very first day of teaching, he told me, I don't think I'm able to do this. Every evening I have got to take 2-3 shots. I said, doesn't matter. You keep doing that and be mindful of that. Be mindful while taking it. And after 6 or 9 months, I exactly don't remember the duration, he said, for the first time in my life, I knew him from my university days. First time in my life, I gave a dinner without liquor without alcohol in my place. See the change. If such a person, he was taking liquor, even when he was in the university, from the first year onwards, he was a very well-known an addict. But that such a person was able to change because of mindfulness. And he was not a very serious practitioner as well. He was just practicing 10-15 minutes. Of course, when I come to Melbourne once a month, he was practicing with me the whole day. They changed. So therefore, if you have this, you naturally become purified. When you become purified, you naturally become happy. And all of us cannot be presidents of the country. All of us cannot be the prime minister of the country. All of us cannot be the ministers. All of us cannot be doctors. All of us cannot be lawyers. All of us cannot be engineers. Whatever you do, if you have this, you will be happy with yourself. So therefore, because we are happy with ourselves, because we know if we bring our attention to ourselves, if we become non-reactional, what you will see is not just yourself, you will see a universe. Especially those who bring your attention to the body, gradually they will start coming up. So this is why the Blessed One said that particular person, the divine being, that cosmos is within you. And then this mindfulness, our teacher always says, this is a universal solution to the universal problem. What's the universal problem? Looking for happiness. Each and every living being is looking for happiness. But they don't know how. Doing so many things. And after doing so many things, each and every time, when they simply change the model of the car, they say it is improving. And they think the happiness is coming. And we also running behind and sell the old car and go for the new car. But have we ever been happy? Have we ever stopped buying another car? No, it keeps going. But if you become mindful, that rat race will gradually, you will feel that we are in a race, that we are in a friction. That does not mean that you should stop everything and keep your right hand on the left and close your eyes and have a straight spinal and observing your breath. You simply become aware and do what you are doing, but without agonizing yourself. And when you do that, that universal problem is solved. Looking for happiness is coming to you. So therefore, there is, when that is possible, when that universal happiness or the universal problem is solved, how it becomes universal is because we are not giving a huge recipe to be happy. What do? We simply bring our attention to the body. Is there anyone who is not having a body? Everyone has. Irrespective of the male or female, irrespective of whether you are young or old, irrespective of whether you are Buddhist or otherwise, irrespective of whether you live in Australia or Sri Lanka, absolutely no discrimination. So people are talking very high and big about discrimination. This is the only thing that does not have any discrimination. So, therefore, it is so universal. So universal. Therefore, it's an answer for a universal problem. And but even this has been taught by Blessed One to his followers. Unfortunately, at least his followers are not doing it. Let alone the other beings. Even his followers are not doing. They do everything else except mindfulness. Everything else will be done. But mindfulness will not be done, even by the followers. I was also in that category. I was doing everything else, but was not practicing mindfulness. I was meditating as well. By the way, meditation is not mindfulness. Meditation means you grow. Meditation means you cultivate. What you grow or cultivate should be mindfulness. Instead, a lot of people, what they do is they grow, cultivate the technique. They grow, cultivate something else. But whatever you do doesn't matter. You can have any technique, but there should have a point that your attention comes to the body. And then from there onward, you maintain your awareness. So this is what the Blessed One says. So when you live in this manner, that becomes an art of living. That becomes a way of living. That becomes a happy living. And since some parents are here, I'm telling, this is something that you can do at home. Instead of just bringing the kids here, you will have to be an example yourself. If you at least take 10 or 15 minutes at home, do your mindful walking and sitting, your kids are definitely going to carry that. That is what I did when I was practicing. Every day, both myself and ex-wife, both of us were practicing 2 hours a day. I was practicing 2 hours a day. She was practicing 4 hours a day. From 3 to 5 in the morning and 7 to 9 in the evening. And with that, the kids saw that there is an alternative way of life. So every time, my son is a paramedic, and he's having a lot of unforeseen, unexpected, unfortunate events to attend. He's using that mindfulness straight away. So maybe some of you are planning to become doctors, and doctors, after treating patients, they will have to go to a psychologist on the way. Be mindful. So when you become mindful, you become your own psychologist. So yesterday, the last few days, we had Melbourne retreat. And when I was doing a mentoring session, and in the mentoring session, when I was talking about these things, then there were some doctors, and they really said, when we listen to you, it looks like that what we have learned is useless. I'm not saying they are useless. They are useful, because nobody is going to feed you unless you study. Nobody is going to feed you unless you work. So you do your best. Do your best, but don't regret when you don't achieve what you are expecting. Be happy what you get. And you can't be happy with what you get. When that happens, you should be prepared for it. And that is what the mindfulness does. So when my son got, I think he was in Queensland, they call it OP1 and OP2 and etc., etc. And my son got OP5. And he also, as all Asian parents, wants kids to be doctors. And he was aiming for that, and he was not able to do. Then when we went to the temple, monk asked, are you happy or unhappy? Because he knew that we all were trying to do that. That I gave a sermon to the monk. I told him, if I want, I have reasons to be happy. If I want, I have reasons to be unhappy. I can be unhappy that he did not get 4 or 3 or 2 or 1, which is the top ranking. I can be unhappy thinking about that. Or I can be happy that he was much better than OP25. You tell me what I should select. So his sermon stopped. There. So we can do that. We try our level best to achieve what we want to achieve. But as I said, all of us can't be prime ministers. We should be prepared in our mind. So that preparation is giving in mindfulness. And especially in this society, not only here, anywhere in the world has become too complex with all these gadgets and with all the information and the technology that you have and the knowledge that you have, we never had when we were young and even now. You know so many things, right? But still, there is an element of unhappiness. And very young person who was in the retreat, and when we were doing the thanking sermons, she took the mic and said, I had the best parents I could have ever had that anybody could have had. I have the best husband that anybody could have had. And I have the best job and I'm really happy with the job. But still there is some part that is not happy within me. And I'm grateful to you, Bhante. You came here and taught us mindfulness. So that person has voluntarily come. And in your case, you have got to be happy. You have parents who understand the value of it, irrespective of whether they practice or not. So at least they are giving the gift. Don't worry whether they are practicing or not. Take 5 minutes. I'm not asking much. Take 5 minutes a day. Walk for 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes a day. Sit for 5 minutes. That will do wonders. I did that when I was about 32, 33. It took such a long time for me to start that 5 minutes. But now, and that was not mindfulness as well. That was something that I read in some book. But in your case, you received the gem, cut and polished. You will have to wear it only. Right? So I think I'm not confusing you. I'm not discouraging you in any way. This is what mindfulness does to you. And you should have, if I give the summary, just take home message is mindfulness is awareness, no matter what happens. And if you do that, you will have an answer for everything. So with that, all the best of luck for the rest of the days and for the practice. And I think now the timetable is to have, for you to have your light dinner. And then tomorrow morning, according to the timetable, we will do a mindful walking. And at 6:15, we meet here for a mindful sitting. Thero Nissarana, everybody.